If you're actively seeking ways to build your mental toughness, navigate life transitions with grace, or simply find inspiration to keep moving forward, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Art of Beautiful Thinking podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Art of Beautiful Thinking podcast. I'm Yvette, and I'm here with my co-host, Kat. In today's session, we're actually going to have a chat about the boxes of life and go into that in a little bit more detail from the perspective of, the different pillars, the different areas of your life, and also look at your why. How do you cultivate your why, and what is your why? Do you know what your why is? And if you don't, how do you actually cultivate it, and how do you then start navigating your life through your why, as opposed to just being on the treadmill every single day?
Yeah.
So let's take it from there and see how we go.
So the boxes of life, I touched on those the other day. We were talking about getting up in the morning, your bedroom's a box, your shower's a box, your office is a box. You just feel like you're all boxed in. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it, of course, is that, people can get put in a box, can't they? People can say, well, this is what you are. These are the family, these are the friends, this is the office environment that you're in, this is the career you've always done. So as far as we're concerned, this is the box that you are in. So sometimes it can be quite difficult, especially if you're looking at reinventing your life or making some changes. Unintentionally, people around you that you actually love and care about can put you back in your box, not meaning to, well-meaning, but they can put you back in your box, can't they?
They can. I kind of look at the boxes of life in relation to those different pillars of life. So we've got the financial pillar, the relationship pillar, the spiritual pillar, the health pillar. There's all these different pillars of your life, and we can actually classify ourselves and put ourselves into a box in each one of those pillars.
Yep.
And by doing that, we're actually putting a ceiling on ourselves and preventing ourselves from being able to achieve all the results, or not even necessarily achieve, but even live our best life in those particular pillars. And if we can bring those pillars together and have them playing in harmony with each other, as opposed to being imbalanced, because you hear people saying, oh, you want to imbalance. And I heard this quite a while ago, that if you have a band, for instance, with all their instruments singing the same, doing the same note, playing the same note in balance, it just sounds like noise, total noise.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but
that's
if you've
right.
got everybody in harmony, in different harmony, and that means they're all playing at different levels and that type of thing, but it's in harmony.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful sound. And that's the idea with the different pillars of life, is to make sure that you have harmony across each one of those pillars, and don't put yourself in a box. Don't label yourself in any type of a way. Yeah. And as you said, that can also happen, like it happens a lot in career, doesn't it? Where people in careers or in relationships, where you hear about people being pigeonholed or being put in a box. Yep. And you've never been seen to come out of that. You see that a lot with certain actors, where they always play the villain or they always play the comedian.
Yeah.
They've been typecast, and so you don't want to do that in your life. You don't want to typecast yourself.
No,
because you hear, we say, sorry, go, mate, go.
Sorry. Now there's pressure as well, isn't there? Because in career particularly, you're supposed to sharpen your skills, climb up the ladder slowly. This is kind of the ideas that we're fed. Build your way through the hierarchy, get more education, and I suppose the more specialized you become in your career, supposedly, the more money that you'll earn, apparently. But that doesn't work for everyone. When you're in hierarchies, there's not room at the top for everyone.
No.
So it's definitely being in a box, putting labels on you of any kind. Labeling is enormously damaging, and it's something that we don't really want to engage in. If people are labeling you, then I would encourage you to just say, look, thanks so much, it's not me, I'm not interested. Because once you get a label, it's funny, I've studied, actually, when I was studying crim, they actually talk about labeling as a problem in criminology, because once you start labeling offenders and people that are struggling with their life, they generally start believing that label, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. And majority of us have been labelled at some point throughout our life, and it could, as I said, be in any one of those pillars where you've actually been labelled. And it is really unfair, because we are all more than what we realise, and we've got so much more that we can also give back.
Yes.
And I suppose that kind of flows us into that conversation about your why, as to how do you get that?
Mm.
What
Yep.
is it that's important to you?
Yep.
And you can have a why for all the different areas of your life, but you
Mm.
can also have an all-encompassing why that
Yep.
covers everything.
Yep.
And it's really when you are living life from that perspective, from that why, you actually feel extremely fulfilled.
You
And,
do. But it's
you
a
know,
very
and you've got
nebulous
more joy.
concept, isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
nebulous
it is.
concept.
And it's a very buzzy word as well.
Yeah, it is.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you find your why? Because that's the hardest part. How do you do it? What are the tips and tricks you would share?
Ooh, tips and tricks that I would share.
Put you on
Um,
the put you on the
yeah, put me on the spot there. Well, it's actually for me, it's actually really looking at the things in your life that you have an interest in or you find joy in.
Yep.
And they may be quite small initially. You may not even realize that
Mm.
these are things that are your why. It's almost like a calling. But
Yep.
and there's also an element where you can feel drawn to
Mm.
a particular area and you don't really know why, but you're really drawn to it, and or a subject that you absolutely love researching and learning about and things like that. And so when you find that you could say that your heart and your mind are aligned on a topic or a particular thing that you're
Yeah.
interested in, that is your why. That's a thing.
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
your why doesn't necessarily have to be something that is going to create a financial income for you. A lot of people will incorporate their why into finances, but it doesn't have to be that. It could
Yeah.
also be giving, being of service in community,
Yep.
volunteering. It can be a whole heap of different stuff. It could be for some people exploring the world.
Yeah.
Traveling is their why, and they just want to get out there and explore, and that
Mm.
brings in the biggest joy. But if you're able to actually incorporate your career into your why, it makes your life even better.
Yeah, you're making me remember actually when I was at college in England with my stepsister Kate. We're both like she was a year above me, and it was so funny. I remember she did a project on podiatry, and she decided to become a podiatrist. And I said to her, "What on earth?" And I mean, that's a hell of a journey, right? She had
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
to the
yeah.
London Foot Hospital. She had to study a medical degree and then specialize in podiatry. So that's a pretty big deal. I said, "Why do you want to do podiatry?" She said, I don't know. She said there's something about getting a manky foot and then fixing it and seeing it look all nice and clean and shiny. And she said, I just love it.
Did it for it. Yeah.
That was her why.
I mean,
That was her
the last thing
why.
I would want to do is touch someone else's feet, but some people like
Yeah,
that.
me too. And that's why it's so important to know. And remember that we're all different. Everybody has
Exactly.
something. I mean, the last thing I would ever want to do is touch people's feet. Absolutely not. No.
But
But
some
yeah,
people, like, she likes that. That's
loves it.
fantastic. And
And
that
so
is, that's the
satisfying.
thing. We all have our uniqueness, and there
Yes.
is something in us that we're here to express in this world.
Mm.
And usually that's your why
Yes.
is actually that form of expression. And
Yep.
it's up to you to figure out what that is for
Yeah.
you. And as I said, it's the thing that lights you up. It's
Yeah.
the thing that brings you the most joy.
And some
And
of us come to that later
we
in
do.
life, don't we?
Yeah.
But because, you and I have both had that pretty traumatic sort of awful upbringing, both of us. So I know as a child, I had some ideas and thoughts in my head when I was younger of things that I would like to do. But I didn't for 1 minute. And it was similar to doing this sort of stuff, and helping people and coaching and that kind of thing. But I didn't for 1 second entertain the thought that I could possibly do any of it because of the way that I'd been brought up and not to believe in myself. And only lucky people get to do that. So being now in my 50s and able to finally believe in myself enough, it's taken a lot of work to get to that stage. And I'm obviously, we talk about this, we do this podcast because we hope that we share a bit of encouragement and a bit of inspiration, make people feel a
Yeah,
bit lifted after they
exactly.
listen to us. But yeah, for a lot of
Like that
years,
spark.
yeah, exactly. For a
Mm.
lot of years, I would never have even done a thing like this because, again, I would have been full of imposter syndrome. And it takes working on yourself and really sitting with, and I think it's almost a luxury. Some people consider it almost a luxury to have the time and the capacity to sit with yourself and listen to that little voice inside because we're all so swamped with making a living, looking after our families, doing all the other things. And what we need to do, I think, is change it from a luxury to a necessity.
Yeah, and it's funny that you should say that with calling it a luxury. I remember having a conversation a number of years ago now, with a gentleman who used to be a colonel in the British Army. And
Ah,
he was saying to me that we were talking about exactly this, about it is a luxury to be able to work on yourself,
yeah,
especially and in the Western world and probably quite a bit of the Eastern world, we have that luxury. But
yeah, we
then
do.
when you look at places where there are war-torn countries,
Yeah,
okay, tongue tied there,
yeah,
um, it's survival
yeah,
for them.
yeah.
So
It
there is
really
no
is.
luxury to be able to do that. It's total survival.
Yeah.
And when you're not in survival mode, then you do have that ability to be
Yeah.
able to go, well, okay, I can now turn inward. And some people even during that survival mode, you hear about different individuals when they were in the concentration camps, for instance,
Mm.
who did do a lot of internal
Oh,
work
like
on
Viktor
themselves.
Frankl. Viktor Frankl popped
Exactly.
into mind.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, his book is amazing,
Oh, incredible.
and his story is amazing, and how his mindset was all the way through,
Man's
and then
search for
he
freedom.
utilised that
Yeah.
as his
Mhm.
why when the war was
Yes.
over.
Yes.
He really grabbed that what he learnt through that period and
Incredible.
just went, "How can I use this and my
Yeah.
mindset and what I did?" And then he came up with his own method to be able to
Mm.
assist people
Just
through
amazing. I
those.
mean, lying on a a hospital bed,
Yeah,
basically being used as a guinea pig by the Nazis, and he was able to. I mean, he was a psychologist, but he was
yes.
able to go into his own space, into his own world, inside his own mind, and control that, so that he survived. And then, like you said, went on to do amazing things and write that incredible book.
Well,
Yeah,
he'd
I
see
think.
beauty.
Yeah.
He'd see beauty in the smallest things. So I remember, like, he was laying in the hospital bed, and
Mm.
he could see just outside the window, and outside of the window, he could. I'm not quite sure if he could actually really. There was a tree, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure if he could actually see the tree or only the shadow of the tree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't
My
remember what it
God.
was, but he would just constantly keep looking at that and take the beauty and the appreciation of being able to be a witness to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really got him through it. And he basically said that um, the Nazis could do whatever they wanted to his body, but they could never touch his mind. He was
Couldn't
the only
break that.
person who
Yeah.
could, you know, I can control who touches my mind and who doesn't, and
Yeah.
they're not going to get into my mind
And that was
because
his
I
power.
and that was his biggest power. Yeah,
Mm.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And so God, going off a little bit, but the thing with that was he was able to utilize that and turn that into his why,
Yes.
moving forward and to make change in the world for the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you can take really, traumatic situations
Mm.
and have those things become
You
your lessons,
like your jet
you know,
fuel.
yeah,
You turn them
and
into your jet fuel.
exactly, and drive
Mm.
you into
Mm.
another area. I mean, I know that we've spoken about that too, how um, you can use anger from your upbringing or I don't want to be anything like you, yeah, to drive you. I'll let you talk about that. Go for it.
Oh, well, I mean, I was furious with all the things that happened to me as a kid, furiously angry for many, many years. My mum was married 5 times. She's on her 5th marriage now, which is calm, thank God. But, I was dragged through those marriages with horrendously abusive step parents and just awful and siblings. It was awful. Dragged. I was traveling between England and Australia from the age of 9 by myself, because my parents were fighting over custody, and it was shit. I spent a lot of time living with my nan because neither parent wanted me. They were just too busy fucking around in their lives and ruining their own lives. So, anyway, and for years, yes, I used the whole right. So for me, I translated that I was not going to ever go inside to my inner world because I'd been told that I was broken and that
Ah,
my inner world was no good, and all of the voices around me were very negative and and that box was reinforced by everyone in my life, in my family. My dad loved to scapegoat me. My step siblings you know, bought the whole idea of it all, and my stepmother did, and they all sang from the same hymn book, the lot of them. So they all told me that I was some sort of freak and some sort of weirdo. I used that to propel myself forward in life, and I was utterly determined to have a good marriage and do really well in work. That was the two main focuses for me. So when I remember when I became successful, and I got my business going, and I was happily married at the time. Um, and what happened was my pursuit had been very single-minded, that I'd wanted to get really good wealth because I wanted, it wasn't just the money, it was more the freedom and the security that money could buy
Yeah.
me. I
Yeah.
really wanted to be in that place where no one could ever mess with my life again, because I'd been thrown from pillar to post so much and I'd had no control over my life as a kid whatsoever. So I was like, well, fuck this. If I've got money, I can build my castle and I can pay for my castle, and no one can push me out of that. Um, but it was and my ex-husband loved that because he was all about, oh, I love money. He loves money above
Yeah.
all things. So he thought that was great. And then I realized once I had my children and I lost my daughter, I went through a lot of personal growth with that. I did a lot of psychology. I did a lot of soul searching, and it sort of
Mm.
triggered off lots of different growth in me. And I realized that, like, we didn't give anything back. It was sort of a hollow victory. I mean, I did little things like, would give money to different things that I saw were important, but he would give me loads of grief about that because we still had a mortgage. And in his mind, well, you've still got a mortgage, you shouldn't be giving money to anyone for any reason. That was
Interesting.
his.
Yeah.
Mm. Anyway, so as far as I suppose the sustainability of anger, it's good for a while, especially if you've come from a pretty dark place. It's good to sort of propel you forwards, but it's not sustainable in the long term, and it doesn't bring you any peace.
No.
So, I find now, yeah. So, I find now, and I lost all of my wealth when I split with my ex-husband, or not all of it, but the majority. And it was really interesting. It's like the foundation of your endeavors need to really come from what you want inside for yourself, for your peace, not for revenge, not
Yeah, or to
for
prove your worth.
proving your
Yeah.
worth, not for being a
Yeah.
show pony, for no performative reasons. And it's either you're either running to, like Tony Robbins says, you're either running towards something or you're running away from something. And I was running away from the loss of control and the lack of, money that I had to protect myself. So I was in fear mode. Everything I was doing was from fear. And I think it's totally different. You build things from joy and want, like, because you're engaged in it, and that why. You build things like that quite slowly because it takes you a while to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it builds momentum, and it's a lot more sustainable.
And it's all. I think I've said this a couple of times. It's inspired action. It's
Yeah,
not. It's not from external, so it's not motivation, because
yeah,
motivation is from an external source, as in
mm,
inspiration comes from internal. So it's
yeah,
inspired action, and when
yeah,
you have inspired action, it has longevity.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you don't
It's
run out.
not.
It's
No,
a
and it's
well.
not going to fall over that easily if someone comes up to you and says, "What are you doing that for?" Or
Yeah,
say, "That's not going to work," or
yeah.
"You're an idiot," and then you go,
Okay,
"Oh,
you can think I'm an idiot. The
yeah."
sky is blue. You can say that it's purple
Exactly.
if you want. The sky's still blue. I don't care.
So it's really, that why is something that does actually inspire you
Yeah.
and really drives you to, whether it is to make a change in the world, or even, and when we say make a change in the world, it's not about going, I've got to impact, you know, the entire populace of,
No,
of this planet.
no.
It's really about in your world and what you can do to, you know, impact those around you or impact a little bit of society. It could be an invention. It could be, even if you're someone who likes to travel, it could be your travel stories make an impact.
Yeah,
There's all these different things that can bring joy to people's life.
yeah.
And you're the only person who, through your own unique style, can give that message. And
Yes.
I think some people, especially when you look at it from a career perspective as well, a lot of people will go, oh,
Mm,
but there's so many people out there
yeah,
that
yeah,
are, they've written books and they're
yeah.
authors and there's bestsellers out there. Why would I be able to do that? I don't, I'd be competing against these people. That's that little bit of that imposter syndrome that's coming out.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is you will have a unique message.
Yeah, you don't have to be J.K. Rowling. You don't
No.
have to make billions of dollars. You can just do something that brings you joy, that brings other people joy. Like if I had one person, one, say, middle-aged woman who was feeling like her tank was a bit empty and she listened to this podcast and it filled up her tank a little bit, for me, that's job done. Yep.
Exactly.
Good. Done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I love
I
it.
say middle-aged woman, middle-aged man, whatever. I'm
Yeah,
just
it
kind
doesn't
of thinking of the
matter.
sisters, you know?
As long as someone's, as I say, as long as it ignites someone's spark and it gets them thinking again about,
Yeah.
you know, oh, I used to want to do this, and then I
Yeah.
kind of shelved it.
Yep.
And now, well,
Maybe I
maybe I
should
should
have another
dust
look.
it off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I should.
yeah,
And can we dig a bit deeper for people that are listening on, so we talk about you've got to really think about, yeah, understanding, getting to know, listening to the inner voice. Have you got any techniques or tips, like maybe, I mean, I know we talked about in our last podcast, you go to your top 5 friends and go,
yeah,
what are the things about me that you know that I do well?
yeah,
What about writing down lists? Or is there like a, because I don't really believe in coincidences. I think when you keep seeing repeated patterns or repeated things coming at you, they're kind of messages. How do you
yeah.
tune into that?
How do you, sorry, channel that, did you say?
How do you,
Yeah.
like I'm asking you because you're good at this stuff, how, and I want you to tell our listeners, how do you tune into that event? Because you're very good at that sort of thing and you can put that into words.
Oh, can I? Gosh. Well, I mean, I think there's a number of different areas that you can work on initially, even before you get to that point of going, the inner voice and all that type of thing. It's initially what you can do is just write a list of all the things that you want to experience in life,
Yeah.
in
Yep.
all those different areas of your life
Mm.
that we were speaking about. So what is it that you want to experience? What
Yep.
are, what are the skills that you want to develop? What are the things that you want to learn? Like, do you want to go learn how to fly a plane? Do you want to get a license or something like that? Do you want to
Yep.
jump out of planes? What are the things that it is? You may want to learn how to build a boat. Who
Yep.
knows? But
Yep.
what are those subjects that you want to build skills in?
Yep.
What are the things that you want to experience? Like, do you want to
Mm.
travel the world? What is it?
What are you
And
drawn
write
to?
a list of all of those things and do it for each area of your
Yeah.
life, of what you want
Hmm.
to experience. And then look at the commonalities between the different pillars, because you'll find that there is some stuff that comes up across
Yeah.
all of it.
Yep.
And that's usually, I suppose, a little bit of a hint into
Yeah.
your why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you delve into that a little bit deeper. And
Yep.
then what I would probably say, because I love meditating,
Uh-huh.
is to actually meditate on that.
Yep.
Meditate on that, those hints, like meditate on it and go, hmm, what's the thing? Like, if I was to really ask myself deep down and connect, as I said, connect between, mind
Yeah.
and heart, and really connect into that heart and go, what is it that is piquing my interest, and that I can really
Mm.
see from a gut perspective. If I visualize that as a future,
Yep.
what is my gut saying? Is that the right path?
Yeah.
And you'll know intrinsically whether that's the right path or that's your ego saying this is what you should do.
Yeah,
So
because you won't doubt
no,
when it
you
is the
won't
right
doubt.
path.
It'll just be a very
Yeah.
it'll be very clear to you. You'll just know that
Mm.
that's the direction you need to head in, and it's the direction you need to head in now. That could lead you onto a different path down the
Yeah,
track,
totally.
but that's how I go about it,
Yep.
and it's worked for me to date. So,
That's it. You gotta
and I
tap
do,
into your
and
instincts.
I think
Mm.
meditation is it's a extremely effective tool for a lot of different things. Like, it
Yeah,
helps
it's
you out in
funny.
so many different areas.
I mean, and you can do meditation in so many different ways,
Yeah,
can't you, as
mm,
well? Like,
you can.
everyone kind of thinks about sitting there and omming with your legs
Yeah,
crossed,
no,
which doesn't work
no.
for me.
No,
I'm very much
you've got active
yeah,
meditation, which is
yeah.
where you've got the guided meditations and things like that, and that's really good for people who are new to meditation as well, because
Mm,
it
mm.
does help you keep your mind focused on
Yeah.
a particular thing. As in, when you become more skilled at meditation, you can then start probably moving away from the guided meditations and do more of the inactive meditations. And active
Mm.
meditations can also be breathing meditations. There's all different types of things, centering, grounding yourself. There's lots and lots of different things out there, but you just find what works for you. But that's
Yeah.
what I would recommend. And there are probably some guided meditations out there. In fact, we've actually got one about your perfect day, and it's really about helping you understand what your perfect day looks like.
Yep.
And that's probably the other aspect. If you're able to visualize what you perceive as your perfect day,
Mm.
then that's going to be another inclination into what your why could possibly be.
Yeah, absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
it'll be wrapped in there, your perfect day.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? I just sometimes lay and drift, lay
Hmm.
on the bed and just let my mind drift and let it go where it wants to go.
Daydreaming. Yeah.
Yeah, daydreaming. That's exactly what I do, and that's what I find is a very powerful tool for me because my brain will, and if I'm relaxed enough, my brain will then go and I'll start making connections between different things and I'll go, "Oh." And sometimes I go, "Oh, that was the message." Okay, because sometimes I find I'll have a conversation or an interaction and it'll stay with me for
Mm.
whatever reason and my brain will keep bringing it back up and I'm like, I used to try and push that down, but now I go, brain's trying to tell me something, it's noticed something. All right, I need to have a bit of a daydreaming session and tune in and go, what is it? And then it will pop it into my head. And it might not pop it into my, because sometimes I'm a bit dumb. And I don't
Yeah.
want to
Sometimes it's like, do you want me to hit you over the head with a 4x2? Is that what I need to do?
as my husband always says, in the most loving way, you're the smartest dumb person I've ever met. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, thanks. Shucks.
And it's funny because my eldest child, poor old Maddie, is exactly the same as me. Very, very academic, but ditzy as ever. Anyway.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So yeah, I think it really comes back to that. What truly drives you?
Yeah. Truly, truly drives you. Yeah. What
Truly
is that
drives you.
thing that
Yeah.
makes you go, oh, that'd be great. I'd love to do that. Even if it's something, and this is the thing as well, I think a lot of people have a little secret dream inside
Mhm.
their heart.
Yeah.
And then they look at it and they go, oh, that looks amazing. I could never do that.
Yeah, oh, exactly. And we go, no. I mean, I don't know for how long I wanted to do what we're doing now, and I
Yeah,
wanted to
same,
coach people, and I wanted to,
same.
as I said, just assist people with overcoming limiting beliefs and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
And for such a long time, but likewise, I kept it in here, kind of went,
Yep.
this is what I really want to
Yep.
do. And, the little monkey mind would go, oh, you can't do that. What makes you think you
No.
can do that?
You don't have
Okay.
a PhD. This is my imposter list, right? That's nice, but you don't have a PhD in psychology. You're not a counselor. You've got too many. You've had too many issues in your own life. You've not been perfect. You've been divorced. You haven't got the perfect weight. Like you just go through this massive list of
Mm.
everything. Or I know that when my monkey mind is going, that's what it does, and that's really interesting how it does that. And then you kind of go down one or two paths. What I find works for me, and I mean, this is sort of a bit me because I'm a bit of a blunt instrument. Sometimes I just go, you know what? I don't fucking care. Shut the fuck up. I'm going to
Yeah.
give it a go anyway. I'm going to try.
Exactly. I'll kind of have the conversation with myself with when monkey mind comes up, going, and how is this actually helping me?
You're so mature. See, you're so mature compared to me. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And you go,
Oh,
how
it's
is this actually
hilarious.
helping me?
You have this little argument between the
Exactly. Yes,
throw
yes.
darts at each other. It's fun.
Yes. And that's the hardest part. So when people say get out of your own way, that's what they mean, isn't
That's
it?
what we mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't let that limiting belief hold you back,
No.
and find ways, because it's only in the doing
Yep.
will you actually build the confidence, and it's in that building of the confidence that you quieten down the monkey mind more and
Yeah.
more and more. And
Yes.
and that's all I can kind of say with that, to make it really simple. There's a
Mm.
whole heap of different personal growth tools. There's a whole heap of different
Yeah.
activities that you can do to help you overcome that, those limiting beliefs, or the imposter syndrome, or
Yeah. Yep.
doubts, fears. There's so much stuff out there. But really, all I can say is the absolutely best tool is action.
Action is amazing. Action is the fear killer. It's the
It
fear
is.
killer. Mm,
And it's the
mm.
confidence booster.
Yeah. And, confidence is always, I always used to say this to my guys on my caseload, it's like a muscle. The
Mm.
more you use it, the stronger it gets. And what you're basically doing is you knock down those negative belief systems. And when your monkey mind comes at you and goes, you can't do that, you go, well, I've done this.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. You're having that conversation. Well, look, and that's the thing. If I can do it in this part of my life,
Yep.
in one of those other pillars, you may be really, really good at something in one of those other pillars. And
Yeah.
then you go, well, if I'm good at it there, why can't I be good at it over here?
Yeah,
And you
why
can
can't I
be.
use my transferable skills? And that's the other
Exactly.
thing. Perfectionism is another thing that we kill ourselves with it. We kill ourselves with perfectionism. So I've got an amazing friend who's incredibly intelligent. She has the brain the size of a planet. and she's so clever, and everything she puts her mind to, she does really well. She's really intuitive. She's really on the ball, but she's a perfectionist, and she knows it. And she says, I've got to do it perfectly. I've got to stop thinking I've got to do everything perfectly. I'm like, there's that old saying, reach for the moon, and if you make it to the stars, that's enough. Or reach for the stars. If you only get as far as the moon, you've achieved space travel. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's great. You don't have to. And this is the other thing. We set our goals too high. We imagine that we
Well,
have to
yeah.
be the next, like, you and I are going to do this podcast. Do we have to be the next Diary of the CEO? If you're watching Steve Bartlett, we love you. But no,
We think you're brilliant.
no, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. I mean, he's
No,
amazing. I love him to bits. I think he's fabulously inspiring. But
yeah.
yeah, you don't have to be. You don't have to be the best and the biggest and the brightest. You don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to be perfect. I
No,
remember years ago, I was going to study to be a naturopath, and I really should have done it. I started the first year of the degree, and then I pulled out of it because you know what I was saying to myself? You're not naturally skinny. You're not observing all the health protocols properly. I don't think people are going to believe in you because you just don't look like a naturopath.
you're
So I
not the
stopped studying
perfect
that degree.
mold of what you had created in your head, the story that you had created of what a perfect naturopath looked like. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the interesting thing. We do create these ideas and we kind of go, well, and that's where we're putting ourselves in a box as well. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not that, which is another box. I'm
Yep.
this box, and
Yep.
which means I can't do that. And so we give up before we even try. When in actual fact, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter, you know,
Yeah.
how big or small. And in fact, the way that you're describing yourself, well, I'm not like that, but I'm like this, that would probably inspire people
Yeah. Yeah.
who
Yeah.
go,
Exactly.
well, I'm not that perfect person either.
That's right.
And you inspire me because you're not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you're achieving this amazing healthy lifestyle because you've got this, naturopathic background and blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how we self-sabotage ourselves.
Well, that's not how I used to look at it either. And I also grew up being told my entire life that I was fat. My entire life, I got told that. And, I remember my conversations particularly with my dad. Why are you so fat? You're always fat. I'm like, even when I was thin, you're just so fat. So these kind of things, we internalize them, don't we? So I
Yeah.
guess what I'm saying is permission to break free of perfectionism, being the absolute best at everything. You don't have to be. All you've got to do is find your why. And and someone said to me once, I read this as well. I was thinking to myself, how do you write a really good book? Because I love writing.
Mm.
And someone said, just write a book that you would love to read.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Exactly.
Create a life that you would love to
Agree.
live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
And
something that
it's
you
the
would
same
enjoy.
with if I look at these podcasts that we do, it's exactly the same thing. We're
Yeah.
just sharing information that we would love to hear ourselves
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
messaging
exactly.
it in a way that makes sense for us.
And I really enjoy our podcast sessions. We're just
Yeah,
sitting there
and
having
so
a chat.
they're pretty therapeutic for us because we're just out there talking. And
Yep.
so, if this doesn't reach anybody else, hey, it's doing
We're
some
having
really good
fun.
benefits for the two of us. And that's really what it comes down to. It doesn't matter as long as you're getting joy in it, and
That's right.
that's really the end result is get
Yeah,
joy in it.
exactly.
Connect the heart and mind together, get joy, find what it is that you love doing, and then just get out there and do it. And if you really get stuck on it, I think I mentioned about the VIA character survey that you can
Oh, yeah,
do,
that's so good.
strength
Yeah, yeah,
survey.
yeah,
In fact, I'll probably put a link in this at the end for it. But
yeah.
it's if you get really stuck, go and do one of those strength surveys because
Mm,
that'll actually show you your strengths in a hierarchical order
yeah.
from 1 to 24, one being the highest. And that then gives you a really good idea of the things that you're exceptionally good at
Mm,
and value in
yeah,
life.
yep,
And then you'll go, well, okay, how can I navigate my different pillars
yep,
to actually project and live from that pace, that space more, and then you'll
yep,
find other things will unravel from there, as in
yeah,
you'll
yeah,
go old and you'll get ideas about other things. And when you are open up, like totally open yourself up to connecting with your authentic self and listening
mm.
to, that inner voice, you'll get direction.
Yeah, opportunity starts to drop into your lap. It's weird, isn't it? Like must be an energetic thing. Stuff
Different
starts to happen.
frequencies. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
So
mm,
I kind of look at it and go, it's definitely energetic. There's definitely that change within you when you start listening.
mm.
You start getting that direction to do things.
And the
And
belief, and the
it
belief,
could,
because
and
that's
a
a big
belief,
part of
correct.
it.
And it could be something
Mm.
very simple, like it could just be call this person,
Yeah,
and you call that person, and then they go,
yeah,
wow, I wanted to speak to you about such and such. And that totally puts you on a different path
it does.
in
It
life,
does. Yeah, yeah.
and it's little hints here and there. Follow through with them. So whenever those little hints pop up,
Mm.
just follow through with it. Don't question it. Just do it and
Just give
treat
it
it
a
like an
go.
experiment. See where
Yeah.
it goes.
What have you got
Play
to
with it.
lose?
Yeah,
What's the worst thing
exactly.
that can happen?
Oh,
You get a no.
yeah.
So
Well,
what?
not just that. It's like God. Like it's like when we're kids, we like to do the. Well, I used to. I used to like exploring as a kid.
Ah,
I'd go
yeah, me too.
exploring, I'd
Mm-mm.
want to go see new things, and so I'd go to the suburb next door to us, for instance, so I could check out all the different stuff that were
Yeah,
the different parks in that suburb
yeah,
and
yeah.
different things, and
Generation X. As
yeah,
long as you're back by the time the street lights come on
exactly.
and
It
you're
doesn't
not
matter where
dead,
you go, just go.
all good. All good.
Um,
Yep,
and so
yep,
I
totally.
used to go exploring and checking things out, and really, it's the same thing here. Treat it like that you're
Yep,
exploring these
yep.
different areas and see where it leads. See what
Because you know what?
things you
Just the
unravel.
just the very act of getting out and doing something different, because we can again get stuck into routines and we can get stuck in ruts. Just doing something different and entertaining the idea of, oh, I think I might do something different in my life. I might try something different. Just that in itself. So I think it is Tony Robbins, I'm quoting him a lot tonight, who says we need stability and familiarity, but we also need, does he call it difference, in our life. We've also got to have something that's a bit unusual in our life, a bit of a change. You can't just do it all the
Yeah,
same
the
all
same
the
thing
time.
day in, day out, day in,
That's how you
day out. Yeah.
stagnate. That's how you stagnate. So just try. And if you want to keep your training wheels on, just do a little baby step. Try something different.
Exactly.
Take up
There's nothing wrong
pottery.
with baby steps. We
No.
talk about doing things in 10-minute increments, so, and it's
Yes.
exactly the same thing. If you consistently show up doing small steps, after a
Mm.
while, those things compound. So
Yep. Yep.
you'll be in a
And
different
then
place.
yeah, figure out what you like, figure out what lights you up. I love helping people. I love seeing people's brains switch on and go, "Ooh, I can do this." I love enabling and encouraging and building confidence. So the other thing is find the vehicle that works for that, because a lot of times if you're working in the community services space, ostensibly you're meant to be doing that, but also that doesn't always fill your KPIs.
No.
And it's not always something that you can do. So,
And there's also,
find
a ceiling. We talk about the ceilings put on you as well. So
yeah,
you can only express yourself to a certain point. You can't fully express yourself. So if
yeah.
you can find areas where you can fully express yourself, that's where you also find more joy,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you are being you to the
Yeah.
core.
Rather than engaging in a formulaic interaction that you're forced
Yeah.
to engage in because you have boxes to tick. Mm.
Don't like those boxes.
Nah, boxes suck. Actually, the only thing boxes are good for is cats. That's about it.
Cats love boxes. They love them. They turn them into toys. They do all sorts of stuff with them.
Box forts.
So maybe that's what we need to do with boxes, turn them into toys.
Just chuck it to the cat. Let the cat have it.
Yeah, exactly. Right, the cat will know what to do with the box.
Yes, yes, we'll make it. It'll be useful. But yeah, definitely. So that's it. Find your why, and your why is the reason why. And this is a fantastic thing. You can apply this to any area of your life. Like I know, and I can think about this. I know with weight loss. So I've been a yo-yo dieter. I've gone up and down with my weight all my life. It's been a real difficult thing for me to master. Still haven't completely mastered it, but I'm on my way. And I know that when there's been times in my life, for example, when I've used extrinsic motivation, got to get skinny for this particular thing, or I want to be attractive, or whatever it is that I want to do, that has come from motivation, and motivation waxes and wanes. It goes up and down depending on what's going on outside, and your locus of control needs to be an internal thing, because if you're relying on input from the outside all the time, your locus of control is external, and then you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you have an internal locus of control, this is from psychology, I suppose, your inspiration, the wellspring of whatever it is that you want to do comes from you're going to the gym because you want to look after your mental health. We discussed this before. You want to be fit, you want to feel good, and you want to be strong. And that will always be there. And any investment, and I say this all the time, any investment you make in yourself, no matter what it is, whether it be studying, education, listening to mental health improving podcasts, lifting yourself, starting a pottery class, whatever, you will never regret a moment that you spend investing in yourself.
No. And I would just like to add to that and sort of say, treat yourself like you would treat your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you start having that same respect and that same level of appreciation and love that you do for your best friend, for you, and you start doing all of those things that bring you joy, like you with, when you're with your best mate and you go off and you do things together because it's fun, do that with you because you are your biggest best mate.
Yeah.
We're just your biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
But, you are your biggest best mate.
Yeah.
So be that, do that. And then you will find that when you start treating yourself with that level of respect and appreciation, same thing, you're opening yourself up to more insight, to understanding yourself more as well. And you may even surprise yourself to the point where you kind of go, I didn't even realize that I'd like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome too. That is an awesome thing to do. Yep. Absolutely.
So just get in touch and, within your, it keeps saying between the heart and the mind, and really get in touch with that and check out, do that list between all the pillars of your life. And with the what is it that you would like to experience? What are the things that you would like to learn? What are the things that you would like to do? And do that across all of them. And if any of them also, you kind of look at it going, well, I don't know how I would actually achieve that, then break that down and go, well, is it that you need to actually learn a new skill? Or do you need to go read a couple of books? Or do you need to go do a course on it? Or what have you? Break it down into those really basic activities to help you achieve that.
Yeah, because life is just, if you want to have a fragrant life that you enjoy, you have to be doing something in a little tiny way every day. We say this, I know we repeat ourselves to get what it is that you want. But I mean, I guess the reason why we repeat ourselves is because it's the same message, isn't it?
Well, it's simple. At the end of the day, there are a lot of different methods and methods are methodologies. There's lots of different things out there that have been created to help people overcome themselves ultimately. And to be able to step into your true power as such. And you can, you find whatever works for you that's going to help you do that. But really, really, the biggest teacher and the best student is you.
Which is so against what common psychology tells us and culture and society tell us, isn't it? It's so simple and everyone frowns upon that. You're listening to yourself, but all these other people over here don't approve and they're giving you all this negative feedback, but I don't feel like that. I'm not acknowledging that. Wow, God, how dare you? Our society is not designed to do this stuff.
No, but that's exactly what it is. You have to trust in you because you are your teacher and you are your student and you have all the answers that you need within you. You've just got to trust yourself.
Yep. And get that little voice and get to listen to it because it's only quiet when it starts.
Yeah. And it is simple. We talk about it in simple terms because it actually is simple. We make it hard. So we make it hard because of our own belief systems, our own doubts, fears, the imposter syndrome, the self-sabotaging patterns. And it can take time to break those things down, but perseverance is what's going to help you there. And as I said, get that out of the way and you will achieve your why.
Yeah. So figure it out, break it down.
Yeah, so step out of your own way. It's exciting.
Oh, God, I hope someone's feeling good from watching this.
Yes. Well, anyway, I think we've probably come to a natural end with that, haven't we?
Pretty much.
Anything else you wanted to share?
Oh, if anyone's got any questions about this, I'd love to hear about it. Or if anyone ever has any feedback around about using those tools and finding that it is helpful and has given them a sense of their why, because that's really difficult. It's something that's tossed around and a lot of people struggle. But if anyone wants to ask us any questions, anyone's watched this episode and they want us to expand upon things, chuck a message to us. We'd love to hear.
Yeah. Come and join our Facebook community page as well. You'll find us under the Art of the Art of Beautiful Thinking podcast. Gosh, I do
I'm not
that all the
excited
time.
today, but that's
I
nice.
must be. I don't know. Yeah. Gosh, yeah. So Art of Beautiful Thinking podcast in Facebook. You'll find us there. Just come and join our community. More than happy to answer any questions that you have, or just follow us there and, look at all the interesting posts that we have. The other thing too is please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, because we post these quite regularly, and it'd be really, really good to spark the light of people out there and see where we can go.
Get some feedback,
Yeah.
see what people are thinking.
Absolutely. So remember to think beautifully and live brilliantly, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye.
We'd like to say a huge thank you to our incredible audience for your continued support. Our mission is to ignite your spark, empowering you to be a beacon of light for others. We'd love to hear from you. So if you've got any questions that you would like answered in future episodes, or just want to share some insights, connect with us on our Facebook community page. If you're looking for additional resources, go to our website. You'll find the link below. And remember, the absolute best way to help us grow is to share this episode with your friends and family, and to subscribe to the Art of Beautiful Thinking podcast. So until next time, think beautifully and live brilliantly.